Hello, brothers and sisters and pastor. Today I'm going to read you a story called Nobody Asked the Donkey. Sydney the donkey and Muriel the sheep walked along the rough Egyptian road trying to keep up with the crowd. Everyone was all in a rush and upset and pushing and yelling ever since Moses finally got the Pharaoh to let the Israelites go, and Moses had the Hebrew nation pack up everything and march towards the Red Sea and to freedom. Well, this was an unexpected trip, Muriel said. What are you complaining about? Sydney responded. Look at all the junk I have on my back. They make me carry everything. Well, why don't you just dump it on the road? You're a donkey. People expect you to be stubborn, the helpful sheep advised. Well, it's not that bad. Besides, this is what God created me to do, and if it makes me useful, then I will have a place in the promised land. The donkey informed his friend. This isn't just a vacation trip, you know. God did all these amazing miracles back there to get us out of the slavery and to take his people to the promised land, which they say is like paradise. Uh-oh, trouble, Muriel remarked, and she knew what she was talking about. Just ahead, the caravan came to the edge of the Red Sea. This is terrible, Sydney, Muriel said in a panic. Look at the river. You can't even see the other side, and it is churning and flowing. It must be a mile deep. Nobody can cross that. Look at Moses just staring at it. He didn't have a plan for this. Haven't you been paying any attention all this time? Sydney said, nudging the weeping sheep, so maybe she would stop crying. Remember what God did to Pharaoh when he wouldn't let us go? He sent plague after plague. The sun went out, the sea turned to blood, frogs and locusts covered the land. That was all God's doing because he loved us so much. He couldn't stand to see us in slavery, the donkey said. How do you know God will save us from this? This is hopeless. All of the humans are upset and panicking. If you're so smart, how come none of them know what you know? Well, nobody asks our donkey what he thinks about things, Sydney said, sounding somewhat hurt that he was never consulted. It is amazing to me that the people of God continue to not trust him. Look at all the miracles, and through all of that, none of those horrible things happened to us. God kept the homes and land of his people from all the plagues, even that last one where he killed the firstborn of every human and animal. Suddenly, the panic in the crowd got much worse. The people were screaming, Pharaoh's army is right behind us. God is faithful. He sent Moses from far away to save us from slavery. Someday a great Messiah will come and take all of his people to paradise. You have to trust in the faithfulness of God. Look, see what this is doing. Muriel peeked around Sydney's legs, and when she did, the children peeked too, because they were on a ridge. They could see Moses standing in front of the raging Red Sea, facing it. Then he lifted his staff and spoke some words they could not understand. All of a sudden, the sea began to crash and twist and change, and a valley opened up and pulled apart to make a huge pathway that was completely dry. Moses signaled, and God's people started crossing it to safety, to salvation, and to the promised land. Can someone read Hebrews 3 verse 1 to 6?
My Christian brothers and sisters who also have been called by God, think of Jesus, whom God sent to be the high priest of the faith we profess. He was faithful to God, who chose him to do his work, just as Moses was faithful in his work in God's house. A man who builds a house receives more honor than the house itself. In the same way, Jesus is worthy of much greater honor than Moses. Every house, of course, is built by someone, and God is the one who has built all things. Moses was faithful in God's house as a servant, and he spoke of the things that God would say in the future. But Christ is faithful as the Son in charge of God's house. We are his house. We are his house if we keep our courage and our confidence in what we hope for.
The meaning of this story is God will always be faithful to you in every situation.